How's everyone doing? It's April 29th, and it's going to be raining here for 3 days, so I'm going to be starting my vegetable seeds. And I had a message from one feller about, maybe starting seeds in different methods or something like that. So since I was going to be starting my vegetable seeds, I personally use old egg carton crates, and I'm going to be using just straight Happy Frog. Like you said, I might add some mycorrhizal and stuff. Actually, I'll put that down. What is that here? I got a new kind of Synergy from Growtech they gave me, but I'll show you there's a lot cheaper methods too. But I think I was going to do a couple different methods, like the egg carton, maybe a cup of water, do a cup of dirt, Ziploc bag, paper towel, maybe some little peat pucks or whatever, right? But just like there's 1,000 different ways to start seeds, so I was just going to point out there's really 1,000 different ways to make soil too. And I was telling you, we're really just using the Happy Frog, and I know a lot of people, they might not be able to find the Happy Frog, so they might just get something like the Pro Mix, or just don't use that Miracle Grow shit. I mean, you can if it's your last choice, but the Pro Mix is a good thing. I was just showing this because I was showing what I personally use for indoor. Like, there's tons of different things to use. Like, if you do, like, just for example, like production, if you're doing production run, like a warehouse monocrop, all we actually use is just cocoa and actually bottled newts and stuff. I'm totally an organic person myself, but that's what's for that purpose. Use canna, like for one, in a warehouse, I guess you'd have storage is a big thing. Instead of having like 2 skids of bags of cocoa, they come in bricks. You can get the bricks and just storage issues, and you just use the canna cocoa nutrients, the CalMag, actually something like CalMag you use, and maybe some mycorrhizal or something like that in there with like something for a boost, like the Massive or whatever. They have their own canna lines and stuff, but I was just gonna say, yeah, so if some people, they didn't have the Happy Frog with all the nutrients, and they're just running something like Pro Mix, it'll still last probably a week or two, your seedlings, but you're gonna start having to add some bottled newts or something for now, if you don't have some amendments to put in, making your soil. I'll just point it out now, if there is one that I would recommend, I honestly do recommend the Medi 1. It's just a 1 part. This is all you need. You use it from your veg and seedlings, even through flower. You just add something like the Massive, and then or Canna Boost or a PK or whatever. But honestly, all you'll need if you're running something like just the Pro Mix, or even if you just have peat, no Happy Frog, get some CalMag and some Medi 1, and that's really the best you can do for now, because this thing has all your micros, your macros. It has calcium, silica. If I'm going to recommend, it's something like that. And I'm going to be adding to those 2 short ones. I use the BioRhizal mainly for cuttings, like this stuff, the BioRhizal with like I use the root tack in these pucks. You can use the Clonex as a go-to as well. But the BioRhizal I'm going to use now on those 2 little, on our test grow there. I'm going to show you how the difference something like that will make. I'm going to put some mycorrhizal. I'll talk on that for a sec. Like this stuff, I get like a great big bags of it, but it's just called like that Mike's. It's the cheapest mycorrhizal you can find at Walmart, Canadian Tire. This is like $5. This stuff would be about 50 to 100 if it was the same size. So you can find that in Walmart, Home Depots. It comes in a green square container. There'll be like a green, a blue, a red one. I just use the green one, and it's like $5 for all you'll really need. I'm going to be adding to those 2 stunted ones just so you see the difference. The probiotic, this Mary Jane. This is a Canadian product, but it's I guess if anyone watches Do Grow show, it'd be like his recharge that they sell. And I'm going to be adding the volcanic mineral. This stuff's from Ontario in Canada, and it's basically just glacial rock dust, but this stuff's local. And what else am I going to add to those 2? I'm gonna add this Gaia Green. It's biochar, but they call it fossilized carbon complex, and it's basically a humic acid, which is, it does a lot of stuff, but I'm using it. It helps with the roots, and this is really just like a distributor. Like it's almost like a brain to control all the nutrients, because we're going to be adding kelp meal, alfalfa meal. I'm still waiting on an order for neem seed meal, silica, whole bunch of stuff, crab meal, yucca, the 200x aloe. But the worm castings you can add, and I was just going to say, this is what I use, how I'd make it up. For one of these big barrels, for my outdoor, we're going to be getting stuff shipped, I'll show you that, but for what we use indoor for my personal stuff, I'll get one of the, it's a 107 liter, 3.8 cubic feet bale, the full ones. I know this sells large or half sizes. For this one bale, I'll add in, not for veg, this is when we're going to transplant even into a 1 gallon bag or larger, but for one of those bales, I'll put one bag of the Fox Farm Ocean Forest. I'll put one bag of the Happy Frog. I'll put, this can of cocoa is big, so I'll put about half a bag of that, and one of these bags of worm castings. Basically, that's your base. What I don't have here that's super important is perlite and some sort of pumice, or these, well, see the white stuff's the perlite. You buy a big bag of that, and these are hydrocorn. We're going to be using lava rocks, and because it's a lot cheaper to get a truck of that stuff shipped, so I'm just going to use the lava rocks. Mix all that in. I'll mix in some the root probiotics, glacial rock dust, mycorrhizal. I'll use kelp meal, alfalfa meal, some biochar, and there's a bunch of other stuff I don't have, but you start mixing this now and you can add it in, because this is, like I said, we got months until we're going to be transplanting, or at least 1 month. But yeah, just a couple things I recommend. I'm going to be adding the biorhizo and a couple of these other doodads to those little two that had the shorter roots, and see if they can catch up. I might actually add my soil mix that's sitting to the other ones, but I'm going to leave just two as just Happy Frog, just as an example. So I'm going to touch on that. I'm going to go top everything up. I'll show you how I do that when I do it, but I just wanted to touch on some of the products. And if anybody is using like a Pro Mix and you're going to need to use a bottled nutrient, and you get your CalMag, just a tip, I might say this a million times because it's important, but when you're mixing your nutrients, yeah, get yourself like one of these from Walmart. It's a little 4-liter jug of distilled water. It's like 99 cents, and then you can, you already know it's 4 liters, but when you're mixing your nutrients in there, which is all you'll need, it's something this size for a couple months probably. But the point is, put CalMag in first. A lot of people, they'll start adding this and that. If you add CalMag, you'll fill it up with water. Put the CalMag in first when the water's up to temperature. Temperature of your water is key. Never put cold water or hot water on the roots. It'll fuck them up or shock them. But then you always, after your water's up to temp, always put your CalMag in first before you put any nutrients in, because you'll get a lockout. But that's just, I'll probably say this every time I see these bottles. CalMag first if you're using bottled newts. Okay, so I've talked long enough. If you got any questions or anything, we'll get into how important the acids are. Like really, when you get going, you'll just need your base, your CalMag, and your acids. That a lot of people don't let the word freak you out. Like it's just your humic, your folic, and like your amino acids. And we'll talk on that later. That's a whole other subject. But for now, if you want something to do, Google some of those and the benefits of humic, folic, and your amino acids to cannabis plants, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But again, you don't need any of this shit. If all you have is just Happy Frog, you're going to be rocking with distilled water for now. If all you have is Pro Mix, you're still good for a week, but you're going to need a bottled newt. You're not going to need any rhizo or any CalMag, but rhizo is beneficial. Mycorrhizal is beneficial. glacial rock dust is beneficial, and so is your probiotics, but you don't need any of that shit. I'm just pointing it out. So that's long enough. Alright, peace.